My name's Joanna Jones and I'm the curator of the Time and Tide Museum, and that means that I look after all the collection and try and promote access to the widest possible audiences for it.
Can you tell us about the project?
So it's really exciting time for Time and Tide at the moment, and what we're hoping to do is bid to the Heritage Lottery Fund for a lot of money to look at how we use the building and make it fit for the next 20-30 years really. So we're applying for just over 4 million in the next couple of years, and we're looking at really reinvigorating Time and Tide and talking to our communities about how we do that.
How long will the project take?
The funding that we're applying for will take a couple of years if we're successful and if we're lucky, and it will hopefully launch the first big starts of the project in 2024. And what will happen is we'll have a development stage where we consult our communities and consult the public to talk about what they want to see in Time and Tide, and then hopefully we'll look at major gallery changes and building and environmental changes in sort of 2025, 6, 7-ish. So it's quite a long process, this project, but it's very exciting, and we're really looking forward to the next couple of years.
What made Time and Tide decide it was the time for a change to the museum?
Well, in 2024, Time and Tide will be 20 years old. So the museum originally opened in 2004. Before the museum opened, after its first sort of lottery fund project, the building years before that became derelict because it was a smokehouse, fishing smokehouse, and the original project really revamped the building and made it into the wonderful heritage that it is today. But actually, while it stood the test of time for the last 20 years, there's an opportunity to make it even more exciting for the next generation of the museum and the next 20, 50 years. So that's why we're doing this now. And we also think that the museum and the world has changed quite a lot in the last 20 years. So advances in everything from environmental technologies to digital technologies to the communities that live in and around the museum and that visit us have changed a lot in the last 20 years. So we feel the time is right to be able to reinvigorate the museum and look at how we are fit for the future.
What is Time and Tide aiming to achieve with this refurbishment?
We're looking at our physical spaces and trying to make them work as hard as they possibly can for our audiences. So one of the key components is looking at covering our courtyard space so that it can be a truly all year round space for events, schools, community groups, so we can really open access to the museum in a way that we can't as it rains most of the winter in England. We also want to look at environmental changes to the building to make it more sustainable, greener, and we also want to look at gallery changes. We want to look at some of the themes that we explore in our current collections and maybe add to our collections as well, and really bring a modernity to our collections that is perhaps not there yet. We're working in partnership with the National Maritime Museum, and they are supporting the project and working with us to really get as many of the national collections out of London into the regions, and specifically Great Yarmouth and Time and Tide as possible. So that's a really exciting part of the project as well. So yeah, all sorts of things. We also want to do some really ambitious artworks and community-led interpretation and community-led artworks, as well as outreach.
What age group are you hoping to target with this regeneration?
So this project hopefully will really increase access for all age groups to the museum. So we really want to look at both physical access to the museum for young people, for our family audiences and older generations, digital access for our audiences, and how people can engage with the collection in the building outside of these walls. And we really hope to target and make the museum fit for all age groups. We want to look at ways that we can make the museum collections accessible to students, to young people, to little kids, to people with complex needs, people in wheelchairs, disabled access, all sorts of areas that we think we do already, but we feel that we can make them better.
Will you be hosting any free events?
We really want to host free events for our local communities. So those that live in the Great Yarmouth Borough, NR30 and NR31, we really want to to host free events that capture our local community and hopefully increase their access to this wonderful heritage on their doorstep. So we're going to be hopefully piloting events called things like Freebie Fridays, where the museum opens after hours, normal opening times, and we can do events based around the collections, but based around the culture of Great Yarmouth. We'll also be doing talks and all things like that as well throughout the course of the project, and we'll also be looking at doing free outreach as well.
What do you personally think the best feature of the refurbishment is, and why?
Personally, I think the best feature of this project, or one of the best features of this project, will be the national partnership with the National Maritime Museum and Royal Museums Greenwich in London. The partnership will be able to bring a national perspective to Great Yarmouth and hopefully secure some really stunning loans as well to the collection from the National Maritime Museum. So that's probably my favourite bit.
With this refurbishment, what sort of atmosphere are you hoping to create for visitors?
We really want to create an atmosphere where visitors are wowed by the heritage of Great Yarmouth and their museum. That's one of the wonderful assets of Time and Tide, because it's in this heritage building that is so part of the museum experience. We really want more people to appreciate it visually, but also, to take away that what's special about the building is what it was used for, and also what it is used for now. So wow factor is what we want to create, really.
Yeah, so how can the public get involved with this project?
So this project will really be a community-led project. So we, at all stages of the project, we really want to get people involved. So there's a lot of different ways that people can get involved. They can contact the museum and email the project, which will be, we've set up a specific email, timeandtidemuseum@norfolk.gov.uk. But we'll also be running free talks and events. We'll also have some gallery feedback spaces in the museum in the next couple of years, where people can leave their thoughts on our plans. We'll also have youth groups and student groups that will work with us in the next couple of years to sort of inform what they think is the most important part of what we want to achieve in the next couple of years. So we pride ourselves on being a community-led museum, and we don't want to lose that. So this project will enable us to get people's feedback at every different stage. So we're really keen to hear everyone's thoughts and feelings about this project. So we're hopefully creating a lot of ways that people can get involved.